Well, Alexey Muraviev is an Associate Professor of National Security and Strategic Studies at Curtin University and joins us now live from Australia. Alexey, thank you very much indeed for your time. Do you think that US officials will go into these talks with Ukrainian officials in good faith, given that Donald Trump sidelined Ukraine previously and suggested that Ukraine didn't need to be part of any discussions about ending the war?
Well, I think they will go into these discussions from the position of strength. I think Zelensky undermined a lot of credibility and lost a lot of political capital when he chosen confrontation in the Oval Office, or even if it was a setup, as some suggest, he chosen to follow that to fall into this trap and continue with the confrontational pattern. So, given the fact that he was forced into apologizing and effectively admitting that he as his government are willing to work, to quote, under strong leadership of Donald Trump, well, that in itself sort of really undermines his bargaining power. And given the fact that the Russians just launched a major offensive in the Kursk region, they launched massive air raids on Ukraine shortly after the United States suspended military support, but more importantly, information and intelligence sharing. Well, I think Zelensky is losing one card after another. And given the fact that his forces continue to be on the defensive, continue to retreat, continue to lose ground in Ukraine despite fierce resistance, well, this is not the starting point where you can actually set terms and conditions.
How much heart do you think Zelensky will take from developments in Brussels yesterday, when European leaders announced what they've described as a watershed moment in defence spending in Europe? Zelensky will know that he has partners there, although whether or not all 27 nations of the bloc are united in that remains up for debate.
Well, I think if Zelensky really believes that Europe can substitute the United States, he will certainly be remembered as incredibly optimistic head of state, because just a few months ago, he was actually making it very clear that the Ukraine cannot continue resist the Russian aggression without the US military support. He didn't mention Europe at that time under any circumstances. And certainly Europe, more importantly, the European elites, which regard Zelensky as one of their own, may be making all sort of pledges, all sort of declaratory statements. You know, they can throw in figures in the range of $700 or $800 billion, and they understand it will take time for these promises to be realized. It's not like all of a sudden this money will appear and Ukraine will be armed to teeth, or all other problems will go away. It will take time for them to assemble the money, then put it to good use. And still questions would be raised whether that would still be efficient, whether they would actually come up with such an amount. More importantly, whether these elites would remain in power for the duration of the implementation of this ambitious project, because as we can clearly see, Europe is not united, it's divided, and there are pro-nationalist, pro-right-wing conservative forces that are on the move, that are on the rise. And the elites that are currently making all these bold decisions are actually being challenged by those forces. So we may actually see a different geopolitical landscape in Europe in a couple of years' time.
Alexey, we thank you very much indeed for your analysis. Alexey Muraviev there from Curtin University in Australia.